Welcome to her comeback. I'm so glad you're back with me. This is where 50 isn't your finish line. It is your starting point, the starting point of everything you want your life to be, the person that you are meant to be. I'm your host, Michelle Thompson, and we are proving that your best chapter may just be the one you haven't written yet. We'll continue each episode featuring honest conversation with women who have stopped going at it alone and have found their way to fulfillment, joy, and purpose in their second act. You'll hear about their struggles, their breakthroughs, and the practical steps that they took to create lives that they actually love. This podcast will show you how other women have made their comeback and how you can too. Welcome back. Welcome everybody to her comeback. I am so proud to have today Lisa Clements. Lisa comes to us all the way from Kansas in the Midwest, Kansas City, I believe. I'm really happy to connect with her, and we're going to talk about money today. We haven't gotten much into the topic of money on this show, so I'm looking forward to our conversation. Lisa, please tell the audience a little bit more about yourself.
Sure. I am a financial advisor, wealth manager based just south of Kansas City. I was a corporate gal for over 24 years, working for some pretty big companies, living in a variety of locations, and making all those decisions by myself as a single woman, never married, no kids. I'm 52 years old, and it was through all that experience that I said, oh my gosh, there's so many of us, professional women, doing it all on our own. And got to that point in my life when it was time for the encore career, they call it, or the secondary career where you feel a little more agency, a little more control in your destiny. And so it was money and helping other women not feel alone in all the decision making that comes around money and planning for the future.
That's awesome. Let's dive into that a little bit more because you have said that you specifically like to work with single professional women. It's a deliberate choice. So what kind of brought you into this niche? And was there a moment when you knew this is exactly who I'm meant to serve? Tell us about that.
Sure. I ended my corporate career working for Meta, formerly Facebook, and living in California. And my family was back here in the Midwest. And I loved what I was doing. Can't say anything negative about Meta, quite frankly. Loved that experience, but I wanted to get back to family. It's one of my core values. And I had nieces and nephews here, and I was missing the basketball games and the kindergarten graduation and the soccer games where the kids are all confused about which direction to run. And I wanted to be there. I wanted to see it. And so I luckily have saved my entire life and was like, okay, I have enough of a cushion built up that I could take some time, relocate, and figure out what's next. I got my coaching certification, thought I was going to do coaching, like leadership coaching at first, and then actually was drawn to a trading group. It was an online trading group that this former fighter pilot led and taught people to trade options.
Oh.
And I thought, oh, this is fascinating. Oh, I want to learn this. And so I set aside a little chunk of money and joined this investment group and got into it and was like, this is so fun. And not that I was great at options trading, it's very much like gambling, truth be told. But I learned so much and I enjoyed the research and the strategy that went into it, how you need to have a deliberate plan for every trade you go into. And then just watching the markets. And the more I read, the more I did it, I thought, gosh, I really love this. And it was literally the moment was a New Year's Eve conversation with my two closest girlfriends. And we were dreaming about the next year. Okay, what are we going to accomplish? What are we going to do? And I said, well, I've got to figure out what I'm going to do to make an income. And we laughed. And they said, you love this, you love the money stuff and trading and the stock market, Lisa. We hate that stuff. I could think of nothing worse that I would have to spend my time on than trying to strategize my investments. And they said, you ought to do this. You ought to do this for people like us. And so that was literally the moment where I was like, really? You think, oh, gosh, what would I? And then I started researching the path and finding out what certifications and licensures and registrations I'd have to have. And that's really what started the whole ball rolling back in 2021, 2022.
Well, that's wonderful. God love good friends, right? They can give us that honest feedback and can see through some of our blinders that we just can't see ourselves. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
You talk about money in a very human way and tied to confidence and freedom rather than just returns and allocations. Where did that philosophy come to you?
For me, what is most important, I think one of the biggest drivers for people is freedom of time.
Yeah.
I want to be able to control my destiny. That's the high level 30,000 view statement. But the reality is, I want to be able to control how I spend my days. Am I working for someone? Am I working independently? Am I able to do the activities that I love? Am I living a life that is actually aligned with my values? And so for me, money is a tool for agency. And so we want agency and control over how we live, and money enables that. So it's all about there's the basic needs. Am I safe? Can I support the people who are relying on me? Do I have options? Then once the basic needs are covered, it's can I live a life that feels like mine, that feels aligned to who I am, who God put me on this earth to be. And so gosh, I love money, but not because I'm going to Tiffany's every weekend buying a new bracelet or something like it. It's because it's an enabler and it gives us options.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And what would you say to so many women who in midlife, like we are, feel that they're behind financially? Maybe they deferred to a partner or a spouse, or they took time off, or they just didn't prioritize until now. And now it's just this feeling of, oh, I'm so behind. I have no idea how I'm going to catch up here.
Yeah. It's amazing to me how many women feel that way. And it's not because they're not capable. It's not because they can't figure it out. It's because they've been busy building a career, caretaking for the people in their lives, balancing multiple balls in the air at the same time. So the women that I meet, it breaks my heart, the shame and the embarrassment that I see. And I'm like, no, 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 you should not feel that. First of all, the financial world has been traditionally a man's world, right?
Yes. Hmm.
The nomenclature, just the things that we call stocks and puts and calls, and that it's an entirely different vocabulary.
Right.
It's not set up to be easy to do. And more of the big companies are trying to simplify and educate, and but it's gosh, a dollar to what is that, a day late, a dollar short, like
Yep,
it's
that's it.
yeah, oh my gosh, we needed this 20 years ago. Why didn't anybody tell me about a Roth IRA, that it's after tax money that once you invest it is never taxed again? Gosh, when I was 24 years old in an analyst role at Accenture, putting a 10, I think I did 10 or 12% into my 401k, I wish somebody would have told me about a Roth. Here I thought, ooh, I'm going pre-tax and I'm reducing my tax bill on my $32,000 a year income. But at that time, I didn't need to be reducing my tax bill. Like I should have been
Right.
invest. So it's stuff like that I think makes women feel embarrassed and, oh, I should have known this. Honey, no, you should not. There's no reason why you would have known it because most of our high schools, most of our colleges never even offered a class on personal finance. And
Sure.
so the good news is I tell them like your 40s, your 50s, these are your power decades. Like we can start making changes now that will dramatically change what your life looks like in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Yeah. So I guess it's just a lot of attuning to the feeling. Like I get it, but
Yeah.
also wanting you to know it's not your fault. And hey, let's take a look at what you have been busy doing. No wonder you haven't been able to step into this world that is completely foreign.
Right. Yeah, and it's interesting you use the word shame because I can certainly identify that with that. I was a single mom with kids and things would come up and maybe I'd have to spend money that I didn't want to spend necessarily, but I had to because of a situation and then I can shame myself into the shoulds. You should have done this, this should have done. And I just speaking for myself personally, I do feel like there is a lot of shame around money and how to overcome that and move beyond that and be empowered and have the freedom that you're talking about. I think that is so important.
Absolutely. Like even in the fact that we don't talk about it with people.
Mm.
We don't tell our girlfriends how much we make. We don't say, I just got a promotion and now I'm making 160. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, oh God, that's so tacky. But we hurt ourselves so much because that would be really helpful to know that doing what you do in this career you can make 160. I wish I would have known. Oh, wow.
Mm.
Or had somebody tell me, I made 220 when I made the move out here. Get out of here. Or
Yeah.
this job, I'm making 65,000. Okay, good for you. Like,
Okay.
we don't talk the numbers, but we so hurt ourselves by not being a little more transparent about it. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, definitely. What's a common financial mistake that you see women make? And after we've been talking about transitions and maybe whether it's the second career or any type of life transition, what's a common mistake you see, not out of ignorance, but maybe just it could be grief or fear? What do you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah, I think the most common mistake is falling into some kind of extreme behavior. So I lose my spouse and I just bury my head in the sand. I don't want to think about it. I just don't want to, I don't even want to open the documents. I don't even want to go to my husband's dresser drawer where all this was kept. That's I think one thing. And then the opposite behavior is true, where I'm getting divorced or I'm losing a spouse or I'm taking a new job and we're just going to go fast, fast, fast. We're going to roll things over and I'm going to put in la, 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 la. I'm going to negotiate this contract and I'm going to blah. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. My advice is always let's step back and just build a little stability to buy you time. So let's
Mhm.
look at first what you have,
Mhm.
second what you need. Okay, let's give ourselves a time frame. Let's just buy 3 months, 6 months, or it could even be in the case of the death of a spouse, it could be a year. Let's just buy you a year before you move, before you sell the second car, before the big decisions, let's just buy you some time. So that would be for life transitions. It would be that extreme behavior that I would say, whoa, whoa, slow, find a thought partner, find a financial advisor, find someone who can help you just create some stability. When it comes to just investing in general, one common thing I see women do much more than men is we're savers. A lot of women are savers. And so I have quite a few clients that when they onboard with me, they've got 80 to $150,000 in cash. And I'm all for the emergency fund. And of course, there are extenuating circumstances. Perhaps you're moving or changing jobs or starting your own business where you need to have more of a financial runway. but typically that much cash is way more than what you should have in cash. And so I always advise, woo, you're missing out on, gosh, the
Mhm.
last 5 years, we've had an average of 10 to 20% returns. My clients the last couple of years have been getting 20 to 30% returns. And
Oh,
so when I
wow.
find an account that is sitting in cash, I'm like, oh, hold on. And then I bring my face back to normal. And then maybe we should invest some of this. So
Yes.
that's the other thing I say for women is we can create that secure feeling for you without having that much money sitting in cash.
Yeah, I love that. Is there anything else you would say for this woman who is alone, is what we're talking about, and she's making her own financial independence? What does a financially secure future actually look like for her? What else would you say about that?
The first thing I like to do is look at your values. For me, it's not just about, well, let's get that 401k rolled over so I can manage your money. It's, are you familiar with what your values are? Chances are you have a good sense, but I have from my coaching training some good values assessments that'll help women align and go, oh, yeah, 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 that's right. Those are my top values. Okay. So
Mhm.
then once we make sure that you're living in alignment with your values, which could be questions like, physically where you're living, the type of car you're driving, where you're donating to charity or not donating. So, looking at life decisions, then we need to look at your goals or your aspirations in line with your values. Okay, you're saying you want a boat. That's awesome. I'm all for it. There are places I've researched where you can go learn how to drive a motor yacht as a single woman. And like, I've thought about it. I love the idea of a boat, but then I have to check it. Okay, my values are family, my time with friends, church involvement. So I buy a boat. I live in Kansas. So then I have to go through and check my values with my. So that's the first thing. That's kind of
Right.
a silly example, but then women need to, for financial security, once we know that we're living in alignment with our values, our goals are aligned to our values, then we need an income plan. How are we going to make money not only while we're in our quote working years, but in our work optional years? What's that income look like? So we need an income plan. I think it's important to have a decision framework. Like, how are we going to make decisions about money when it's emotional, or
Mm.
when our parents are in need, or
Yeah.
when the all the potential outcomes are absolutely unknown?
Mhm.
What's the framework we're going to use to make these decisions? Single women especially need legal clarity and care planning. And one thing I think we're going to hear more and more about, and I'm seeing more articles, is the concept of solo aging because women live longer than men. There's a stat that says that 80% of women die single, 80% of men die married. And
Wow.
so
Significant.
we, yeah, we need to have, and just for me personally, like I've put my advanced medical directive together. I put
Mhm.
powers of attorney for health and financial. I have a trust set up so that if some, I have direction, I have my funeral service planned, songs and everything. Like
Uh,
if something happens to me, I want it to be so easy for my brother or my sister or my niece or whoever it is, right? To come in and go, okay, here's what Aunt Lisa wanted.
Right.
She's got it
Like
all
it's all
spelled out.
packaged there. I had another guest on one time that she was saying the same thing, and she had even written her eulogy. Like she had it,
Oh,
she
that's
covered all the
good.
bases.
That's good. Yeah, and it can sound so morbid, but if we're aging alone, I need my people closest to me to know what to do if, God forbid, I have memory issues. Or something like they if they were to ever come over to my house and see something that alarms them, or what do they do? And it makes me I sleep better at night personally, just knowing that I have that spelled out, at least for this year. And then next year I can always change the names.
Right. You grow and change. You can go and switch stuff out, change it. It's okay. Yeah.
Exactly. Like it can always change. You can always evolve it. But so we have more responsibility, I think, just to be very deliberate about our care planning, who has power of attorney to make decisions for us if, God forbid, something were to happen. What happens if we are hiking in Costa Rica and never return or whatever? Like
Right.
who
There's
steps in, what do they do? So
Yeah, we've talked a lot so far about single women are being alone as in midlife and beyond. What about, is there anything different you would say for women out there that do have a spouse or partner? Is there any type of insight you would share with them?
two things. One, I would say make sure you're building your own community. So, whether that's your volunteer organization or a giving circle that you're involved in, or a church, or you and your husband deliberately decide to live in a 55 plus community, make sure your whole life isn't around his social circle. And second of all, don't abdicate all the money decisions to him. That's probably the biggest thing. And I get completely understand why people do it because there's so much to manage in life
Right.
that it makes sense to go, you handle this, I'll handle this. I cook, you clean up afterwards. You do the money, I'll do the laundry. But when it comes to money, make sure you know where the money is invested, who's the financial advisor. And that's not just advice for women in their 50s and 60s. That's, I think, great advice for moms because one of the things that was formative for me growing up was my dad made the money. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, but she managed the money.
Ah, yeah.
I love that because, and I did not even realize that it had any impact on me whatsoever. But I knew that money was something that women could do, women could manage. I knew that mom and dad had different attitudes about it. Dad's, we can always make more money. And mom's like, oh, we haven't had a commercial real estate closing in a long time. And so there was like the back and forth, and that was healthy to see.
Mhm.
So yeah, so be involved in the money. It's good modeling for your children,
Mhm.
and it's a safeguard for yourself, so you're not caught not knowing what's going on if something happens to your spouse.
Oh, that's great advice there. You also talk about making room for joy alongside if you're rebuilding. So if you're in this place where,
Yeah.
okay, you're having to rebuild here in midlife, but how do you hold that for your clients, helping them be financially responsible without letting them feel deprived?
It really happens just through conversation. There isn't a formula because everyone's so unique, but if I know what's really important to you, feeling like you are living a fulfilling life, we have to plan for that. We have to figure out how to make life meaningful now and later. There's a book that formed a lot of my opinion around that by Bill Perkins called Die with Zero. And he talks about how we spend so much of our lives building up to that number 1.5 million, 2 million, 3 million, 5 million, whatever the magic number is. And then people are afraid to spend it because, oh my God, I don't know how long I'm going to live. And, da, da, da. And so they die with millions saved and not spent. And I'm like, oh, the travesty
Yeah.
to work
Yeah.
that hard for that money and not enjoy it. Remember, it's the tool we use to live the kind of meaningful lives we want to live.
Hmm.
And so I am not at all a fan of you're going to eat beans for 10 years and then you'll have a very happy retirement. Oh God, smack me on the head with a pan. No, thank you, you know?
Very good. What does financial confidence actually feel like in a woman's body in daily life? Not just the account balance, but the lived experience of it. What do you think shifts?
It's The ability to make decisions without constantly second guessing yourself. It's the ability to have a decision framework. Okay, interesting. Opportunity has come. The girlfriends are all going to an all-inclusive for a week. Okay, here are the three questions I need to ask myself.
Yeah.
And then you can make the decision without going, oh God, do I not? So it's that decision framework, not having to, yeah, second guess yourself. And I think I sleep better at night knowing that I have a plan, knowing that I've even thought about how will I want to spend my time when work is optional? What will I get up in the morning and do? Am I doing Sudoku puzzles all day?
Yeah.
Am I like
Right.
literally play it out a little bit? So you can start to at least have a vision for it. And having that little vision, back to your question, I think gives us financial confidence.
The thing about having a plan, and this is just totally my opinion here, but I think it's important to recognize too that plans can change. I've seen people, this is the plan. What am I going to do now? This was not the plan. So I think having that flexibility, recognizing that, yes, I have a plan today, but if I wake up tomorrow and things are different, that plan can change too, right?
Yes, you hit the nail on the head. That is the key. Is it's not that I have a plan in stone. It's that I have a plan that then I can go in and tweak and adjust. And, what happens if I meet a man one day? I don't know. Would I want to get married? I don't know. Would I do a prenup? I don't know. Like
Right.
all those unknowns, but I'm okay that I have no idea if that'll ever happen or not. I've got a plan, but I
Yeah.
can always adjust it. Yeah, if
Yes.
things change.
Good. Very good. If there is something you could whisper to one thing, every woman who's sitting in a really hard financial place right now, whether they're overwhelmed, ashamed, or just lost, what would you want her to hear?
Okay, I'm going to do two, but the first one's really
Okay.
short. One is you're not alone.
Yes.
You are not alone. It can feel so isolating, and you'll want to draw back and hide because you're embarrassed, or like we talked about, that shame. Don't do it. There are very good reasons for why you're right where you are. Like, don't fall victim to that. You're not alone. Okay, then here's my other one. It's all about the power of small incremental changes. Like, if a cruise ship was in Miami and it took off southeast 830 miles, it would run into, or not run into, dock in
Mhm.
the Dominican Republic,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
But if you turned that ship 10 degrees
Mhm.
west from its course from Miami and sent it 830 miles, it would end up in either Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, maybe even South America,
Mhm.
right? Like completely different destination, and it was
Yes.
10 degrees.
Right. Small changes.
Exactly. So that's probably one of my favorite metaphors is the idea it's how I have to think about personal health. Oh gosh, I got to get on the treadmill again today. 20 minutes today could change the whole trajectory.
Mm.
So
Right.
it's a very
So true.
similar construct that
Yeah.
I think we have to keep in tune to.
Yeah, I love that you put it into that framework because actually, I mentioned when you and I were talking at the beginning, I have my upcoming book, and there's a chapter in my book where I'm talking about just making those small changes and how taking
Ah,
those small steps. When I was talking about it in the chapter, it wasn't from that financial lens, but it applies all the same. It's the same principle through the financial lens as well as through a lot of other areas in our life. Yeah, that's great. I love that.
exactly.
Love
Very
it.
cool. Yeah.
So, where can our listeners find you if they want to connect and go deeper and maybe just talk to you some more? How can they find you?
Sure. My website is clearspringswealth.com. And that is my handle on TikTok, on Instagram, on Threads, on LinkedIn. So you just
Okay.
type in, I'm trying to be present everywhere. But yeah, you just type in at Clear Springs Wealth and you'll find me. I offer a free 30-minute intro call to anyone who wants to explore if maybe working with me is the right fit or not. And I also have been lately really working with a lot of women as well who are in that sandwich generation, trying to plan for their own retirement while also caring for their aging parents,
Mm, very
care
hard.
and
Mhm.
financials and everything. So I'd say if you're a single woman or if you're a single woman also dealing with those kinds of decisions, I'd love to be here to help.
Oh, so wonderful. Well, I am so glad that our paths cross. You've just been great to talk to, and I love your insight and everything you shared. And I do wish you continued success in all of your work. I hope everything
Thank
continues to go
you.
well for you. So we'll have to keep in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Michelle.
All right. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks so much for joining me today on Her Comeback. I hope this conversation inspired you to keep moving forward no matter where you are in your own journey. If you love this episode, I'd be so grateful if you would subscribe to the show on my YouTube channel at Michelle Thompson Life Coaching. Go there for more encouragement, insights, and just real talk about making a comeback happen. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss new content. You can also visit hercomebackpodcast.com for notes, resources, connect with me, connect with other women in our amazing community who are rewriting their stories. Remember, your setback isn't your final chapter. It's just the setup for your greatest comeback yet. I'll see you next time. Until then.
I cross my legs up in